All right, and welcome back to the RLR podcast. This is a very special live edition. We are live for us. You'll hear a lot of background noise today. We are out at Road America.
Currently sitting inside a tent at turn 14 after we're awaiting the IndyCar first qualifying round. So.
Yeah, which will coincide with our paddock chat segment today. So you'll get to hear the cars going around the track.
If everything goes according to plan, so
yes,
hopefully.
You will find out shortly if I did or not.
I think once again, I would say we probably have a normal amount of topics, or at least what it used to be, and then we don't really have anything much after our experience today. So let's hit roll and start and jump on into it.
Absolutely.
What's newsworthy this week, my friend?
So dealerships around the country, at least in the United States, are really struggling to find new ways to get used car inventory since nobody can get new cars right now.
Yeah.
So they are offering some great deals. If you ever wanted to get rid of your car, now's the time to do it.
So like what? Great deals on new cars? So
great deals on new cars, but also paying top dollar for used cars.
Gotcha. So let me answer this question then. If they're going to pay top dollar for my used car, then I have to go get a new car.
Correct.
Isn't there also a shortage of that?
There are a shortage of new cars. However, the used car market is so hot right now that if you can get your hands on even a different used car.
Okay. Well, I'm not in the market to sell mine, so
not even.
If you are, take advantage of it. Could be a good investment opportunity. You know?
Absolutely.
Wait, what else we got? That's all obviously related to chip shortage, and you said that Asia's getting hit hard with shortage?
Asia's now the top country that's having the chip shortage issues. So.
Why? Just because there's so many cars sold, and so many people who want cars, China, and that's a big part of Asia, but also the Koreas and whatnot too. A lot of manufacturers over there, obviously.
Right.
So.
Yep, and they probably just had the longer stint of available chips, quite honestly. So.
Well, I think a lot of chip manufacturers are also over there as well. So, it already was international, but we're going to be with it for who knows how long. Years we're going to be feeling the effects of this shortage across consumer electronics and other consumer goods, automobiles, you name it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Maybe we should all start buying EVs, maybe from Daimler.
Especially since they're moving up their timeline right now to their EV production schedule. So
Daimler coincides with the rest of everybody else moving. It's no secret that the EV market's been hot with tons of stuff now.
And the EQ line from Mercedes has just been moving forward very well. So.
I think I'm not sure if you saw this. I think my opinions are well known on EVs in terms of when I would get one, but maybe a little bit back more to a fun car. I'm gonna pull up the article here so I can give proper due. So apparently, I saw an article from Car and Driver over the past week that Porsche can't sell its 2022 911 GT3 manuals in California. I'm not a big fan of California to begin with, but if this is true, this just makes it even another reason why I don't like California.
What's the reasoning behind it?
So the article was written by Connor Hoffman from Car and Driver on June 17th. And it's been a while since I read, but apparently it's because the manual transmission is too loud per California noise restrictions. The manual transmission exceeds the state's vehicle noise limits in the code of regulations. Apparently, the 992 generation 911 GT3 is powered by 502 horsepower naturally aspirated engine, Class 6 that is, drives to 9,000, right? And I'm not sure. I don't see the decibel figures here, as I'm reading, but I guess it kind of sounds. I know that there's new regulations that they pass for safer hearing and blah blah blah, all the new fun things California passes. I'm not saying that the decibel counts on what's legal, what it produces, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So
it's just sad.
Not that the PDK isn't still amazing. Like, come on.
Oh, the PDK's a fantastic.
But come on,
transmission.
come on, manual. I don't know. Hey, if I were to buy it, I'm glad I don't have to worry about that. So, hashtag save the manuals, man.
Oh, I'm totally on board with that. So
it's one more nail in the coffin of manuals going away. Just one more thing that's a problem. Come on, save the manuals. What else do we have? So, different cool car news. So, I think it's well known that we've been seeing a lot of Bronco sports stuff come out, but the actual Bronco we haven't seen a whole lot come out yet. And that's because of production delays.
Gotcha.
So, I saw from Motor Trend, their Instagram page, they apparently officially from Ford production, all the delays in production with the Ford Bronco are now over. They're all, I think, supplier-related delays of, who knows, chips and whatnot. But apparently the Ford Bronco is now out of its delays and it is going into production. So hopefully we'll start seeing Ford Broncos and not, just Bronco Sports on the road. And I'm looking forward to seeing things with you because frankly, I learned to drive stick on I can't even remember what Bronco it was at this point. My grandparents, I grew up classic cars. They had multiple different Bronco models, Bronco 2s, original Broncos. I learned to drive on
I thought you learned how to drive stick on a 350.
So I kind of learned the first time on a really old Bronco manual, and then I forgot because I only drove it like once a year for a day.
Sure.
And then I relearned to drive manual on a King Cobra Racing clutch in a 68, something I can't remember the year, Mustang convertible GT350.
Yeah, so
not the best car to learn to drive stick on. I will recommend.
You're very fortunate that you did get to learn on that.
It's now that I know obviously how to drive a manual, it is so much fun driving that car. But it's I'm eagerly awaiting the new Bronco just because I grew up with old Broncos. I grew up driving and detailing them, taking them to car shows. So Bronco Sport is cool, but I'm waiting to see reviews and stuff like that about the full Bronco. So obviously long awaited, and so hopefully we're out of all the pandemic related delays and you start seeing them roll off the line soon. Hopefully. I don't know what timeline, but yeah. That's the last thing for the Sabine thing. So we do have one more thing, I believe. I actually just saw this morning on the way up to, or I think it was technically last night, right before I went to bed. But apparently, the Nürburgring has named a corner for Sabine Schmitz. She is the queen of the Nürburgring. She died, I think, a couple months ago. I can't remember when. We did reference it in the previous episode. She was relatively young, but she grew up driving on the Nürburgring. I mean, her nickname was, I think, Queen of the Ring or Queen of the Nürburgring. So it looks like the first curve of the Nordschleife will be named or is already named. I think Sabine, at least either Schmitz Corner or Sabine Schmitz Corner, one of the two. She's getting the first corner named after her. And the inauguration's on September 11th. I believe they are also going to be naming a gateway to the Nordschleife in the future for her. So
gotcha.
That is obviously a huge honor. I think she grew up very, very close to the Nordschleife, so it's sad that we no longer have her with us, obviously, but I think a just honor, frankly, for her. So congratulations to her and her family and her fans. But I think that brings, what is it? What segment? I can't remember what segment we're on. I'm just waiting for the cars to come back on the track. A little distracted, sorry. Rolling start. So I think with that, we will head into down the jetway. And for once, I don't actually have anything prepared. So,
all right. Well, it's also a different episode for us.
Yeah,
we don't have
just a
transitions.
little distracted here. I mean, we're eagerly awaiting. We already saw IndyCar's practice this morning, and who did we see?
Well, we'll save that for paddock.
Okay, we want to wait till the end. All right.
So anyway, down the jetway, as Matt does not have us in a transition. So CFM, huge prop and fan manufacturer for commercial aviation, is coming out with an open fan demonstrator, which essentially it's a highly fuel efficient fan system, turbofan system for moving air. So it eliminates the fan ducts on the fan itself.
Wow.
So the duct work is actually done by a couple of stationary fan blades that have adjustable pitch behind the main fan.
Oh, is that kind of like offsetting? So like the.
So I'm showing Matt a picture here. And,
what is like the combination of the pitch like cancels out each other
yeah.
kind of thing? Okay.
So
That's cool. That's really cool.
It also means that you could close off those fans and use it as a reverser.
Oh, that's really cool.
So
is that going to be used in aircraft anytime soon?
So
who's making it?
So it's CFM. Okay. So they're a big time fan manufacturer, and they're in a joint venture with GE and Safran, who I mean everybody else out there is pretty much working on these things. But I mean the pictures that they're showing, it's this open fan concept where there's no cowling.
That's so weird looking.
So it's almost like going back to turboprops again.
Yeah, but does that not just look like
it
right
looks
there,
funky?
The rear mounted above like top of
like
the fuselage.
the tail.
That's just weird looking.
It is, but to me it is. But
how is that? I mean, the cowling also provides a level of safety, does it not? So how is that? How is this open fan design?
Well, it's no different than having a turboprop with a prop that's twice that size.
That's just weird, though.
It's just an interesting way of going about it.
Yeah.
So
it's cool. It looks weird, but it does look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie either. So
yeah. So on top of that, let's get back to this.
What else we got?
So FlexJet, private jet charter company, has signed a deal for satellite connectivity in their owned corporate
Is that like
jets.
really, really, really fast, really expensive?
That's the Li-Fi. It's not Li-Fi. This is just so that the older private jets like the Lear 45s and stuff that never had connectivity can get satellite connectivity so that they have internet and in-flight entertainment.
Well, that's cool. That's pretty cool still.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's big since FlexJet is getting much more popular throughout the past 5 years. So,
yeah.
So that's cool. Just if you've got a FlexJet membership, and you've got a FlexJet, sitting in your fleet or anything like that, you will soon have in-flight entertainment on some of the older models, which is extremely nice.
Cool.
Southwest Airlines had to cancel a huge number of flights for their second week in a row due to technical issues.
Same reasons as the first?
Yes.
Week?
Yep. So, computer issues, not because people were fighting on board, which was last week's main issue, but no, this time, more or less, it was all technical issues and routing issues faced with their in-flight system. So essentially, when a pilot's up in the air, if they're coming into turbulence, they can actually get a phone call on a direct line from Southwest corporate in the cockpit to let them know, hey, we found a better route for you. It's kind of like having a route advisor or a GPS advisor, but on the phone. So they can hop on the phone and actually get a hold of corporate headquarters and discuss that stuff. That's been the big cause of their issues was the systems regarding, or I don't know which systems it was, but it was systems regarding routing and things like that, so they had to cancel some flights. And then last one for me is the rotorcraft industry. So we're talking helicopters, pretty much anything that is propelled by a overhead rotor, which essentially just means helicopter, but there are a couple other things that fall into these
Spinny blades.
Yeah. But not props. So anything that's vertical.
Spinny blades, but not horizontal.
Horizontal spinny blades, not vertical spinny blades.
Yes, gotcha.
Anyway, so those guys are specifically Bell and Boeing are looking very deeply into biofuels for their rotorcrafts.
That seems, I mean, that's just like EVs are a trend in automotive. I mean, biofuels always have been, but even more so lately, a bigger push across the aviation industry, right? So that's not surprising, I think, to be honest. It's good news. I don't think it's surprising, though, would you say?
Oh, I don't think it's surprising at all, just with how things are going.
Are we any, I mean, you would know better than I would. Are we anywhere close to, like, we have, like, cars, right? We have EVs that are somewhat reliable, that, charging infrastructure, blah, 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 right? But they're still usable. Are we anywhere close to legitimate usable aviation biofuel on a mass scale?
Biofuel, I think we're a lot closer than electric. Electric flight's not coming anytime soon, I can tell you that right now, and purely on the fact that there's just so much torque that's generated and so much thrust that's generated.
Not to mention how much power would you have to keep, and then of course weight. I mean,
for international flights, it's just not worth it.
We need new Oh, definitely not. We're gonna need much more advanced battery tech before we have electric EV aircraft. Maybe like helicopters, short flights, like scout helicopters.
Speaking of helicopters, where did that helicopter?
Yeah,
there's been a camera helicopter flying overhead for a while.
Yeah,
he's gone rogue on us and disappeared.
Yeah, we'll find him. Hopefully he'll be back. But, yeah, okay. I think is that all you have for? I think so, right? Yeah,
pretty much for.
I think there isn't a whole lot that, I mean, to me, I didn't find anything for normal, on the Earth aviation, and to be honest, I only found one thing that got my attention rather, for space travel. I haven't heard anything recently about the Mars, rover or whatnot out there, NASA and SpaceX and so on. We talked about how Jeff Bezos and his brother were flying to space, I think, later this month, actually soon. I think today's the 19th. They're scheduled in tomorrow plus a month, July 20th. So soon, later in the year, but next month. So apparently, as of June 15th, 2021, 7:14 a.m., an article from the Daily Mail written by Ryan Morrison, more than 6,000 people have signed a petition calling for Amazon founder, I'm reading the headline, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to be denied re-entry to the Earth after he launches into space next month with Blue Origin. So what, he goes up and never comes back? Someone? I don't know how that would work.
I don't know if you can just deny someone
so
the ability to come back.
I think it's a joke, but apparently the petition compares Bezos to supervillain Lex Luthor.
Okay.
So it's about, apparently Bezos is taking over the world and he should be stopped by not being allowed to return. I find it kind of funny. I don't think any way you could enforce that short of blowing the aircraft out of the sky. But yeah, I'm sure it's a joke. But then again, I'm sure people who have signed it are also not joking. But
right.
I mean, I think it's kind of funny.
It's funny. It's just it's interesting. I just don't know how you would deny someone.
I don't think you can, to be honest. Seriously, how would you? Short of blowing that aircraft out of the sky upon re-entry, how would you? And then, of course, it's a manned crew. It's not just Bezos and his brother going. There's other, I guess they'd be astronauts if they leave the atmosphere, right? So it's other astronauts or, flight crew. I'm not sure of what the definition of astronaut is, but they're going with. So if you strand Jeff Bezos out of the atmosphere, not back, you don't want to allow him back to Earth, you're doing the same to the other people who are there. So interesting. Not well thought out if you ask me, but hilarious nonetheless.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have for Down the Jetway. Do you want to do a quick Wet and Wild, and then we'll finish with Attic Chat? Maybe?
Yes. So, big thing out of our Wet and Wild Adventures, which I also don't have a good transition for this week, just being that I don't have any kind of good way to transition between any of these segments.
Sorry, we're distracted today. It's been a fun day so far.
Yeah, so and we'll touch on it before we potentially move here. What we've been doing, but the American Sailing Cup, which is actually normally held in New Zealand, has been indefinitely canceled forever, essentially. They're not doing it anymore. The Aussies don't like it for whatever reason.
That's kind of sad.
It is sad because
I don't watch it much, but
yeah, but I like to watch the recaps and the things.
Yeah. I mean,
understanding how those.
It's a changing world, so maybe some will take its place. Actually, some probably won't take its place, to be honest. But then again, maybe something will, because there are sailors there who arguably want to continue sailing, and that's one less way to do so. So I hope maybe something else will pop up somewhere else in the world that'll host it. But for now, canceled, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll get a little distracted over there. I think that's it. And what we have left is paddock chat.
Yeah. So let's discuss paddock chat real quick in case our plan of which we're about to undertake changes.
Yep. So we do have some quick NASCAR news. GMS Racing has announced, I think earlier this week on June 17th, that they will be taking part and debuting in the 2022 upcoming NASCAR Cup Series racing series. So we'll have an addition to the Cup Series, which is cool. I think they were formed in 2014, and since their formation in 2014, GMS has won 61 races across multiple different racing series. So it'll be, I think, they're going to rise to the occasion.
Sorry, distraction. You're looking out the window.
We'll see what they do. I see it. It's just flying over the other end of the track right now. What else do we have? So I think the rest of this is actually now F1, is it not? Yeah, it is. So we're in France. I cannot pronounce the name of the circuit.
We're not in France.
We're not.
F1's in France this week.
Just before, a couple of days before, earlier this week, Esteban Ocon had his contract renewed, I believe. So he'll be with Alpine through 2024, I believe. 3-year deal. So congratulations to him. You actually said today that there's a little bit, not really a whole lot to talk about in FP1 and FP2, save for that, the sausage curves were damaging cars. Teams are complaining. I think they should get rid of them, but or change those sausage curves to something that is less damaging, like at the Red Bull Ring when we see stuff that actually works. But it seems like Michael, essentially the race director or FIA director for handling all this stuff, is not very interested in doing something. So I guess they just don't go wide, frankly.
Yeah.
I think there's arguments for and against, but besides that, nothing really notable. I think Bottas won fastest on FP1. I think Verstappen won fastest FP2, and he's now on pole, right? I haven't seen FP3.
So Max did take pole in France, which we're recording this on Saturday, so we have no idea what the race is going to end up like.
Oh, no clue.
But Max did take pole position.
No clue what happened in quali or FP3, so
no, we've been a little too preoccupied with the events of today.
Well, I mean, there's no way we could have watched it. We had to wake up early. We drove up here. We've been here the whole day, so we'll if anything of note I think comes up, we'll debrief about it next week when we talk about France and the first of the Austrian Grand Prix, I believe, is what we're going to be in Austria.
Yep.
So. What else do we have? So
you've got Lewis's fix for the magic button.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a little anticlimactic. Apparently Mercedes put like a shroud over the magic button so he can't accidentally click it again, essentially. So,
okay.
I mean, not surprising. So hopefully it won't happen. Hopefully him pressing that button won't happen again, but it could. Who knows? I doubt it though. He's a champ. He's a 7-time world champ. He won't make a mistake again like that.
I highly doubt that.
You were telling me that Roman's test was delayed, right?
Roman's test was delayed.
Mercedes?
His Mercedes test was supposed to happen this weekend, but being that we saw him this morning, I'm going to say that he's not in France. He's in Elkhart Lake,
quarantine
Wisconsin.
issues. And
Yeah, there were
like
some other quarantine issues. France still has very strict COVID restrictions.
It does seem like they're still committed to doing so, and I don't know when it's going to take. Do you know when it's going to take place?
I don't think it's been rescheduled yet, but it was going to be his home Grand Prix. It is not because he is here, and we are about to see him going out and qualifying.
Yes.
In just a moment.
Again.
But I think we should end this being that the IndyCar races are sponsored by Firestone and run Firestone tires. We should talk about the Pirelli tire situation.
There's a whole lot of drama, it sounds like, going on with the tires. Well, here comes a helicopter. You guys hear it? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, it's very, I just love helicopters. I really do. I love helicopters. I'd love to learn to fly a helicopter.
There it is.
There you go. There it is.
That's the camera chopper for the IndyCar series flying overhead.
So, with that, there he goes. With that, so I was doing a little bit of reading up on the issue. You actually informed me that during the Pirelli meeting, all the
I believe it was during the
didn't
Pirelli,
go.
the Pirelli safety meeting, or the Pirelli meeting with their brand ambassador for F1. The drivers did not attend in solidarity with each other, and specifically Max and Lance, but with George Russell leading kind of the Drivers Association.
Well, he's
Between the three of them, they decided they were not going to attend in essentially pure spite of what happened. And how Pirelli responded that they found nothing wrong with the tires.
Yeah, I think Pirelli's response seemed like a bunch of garbage, frankly. It was just a lot of words and nothing, of course, nothing specific on saying what happened, what's going on. It seemed like Pirelli said that, it wasn't their tires that failed, but it was teams messing around with stuff. And all the teams said that everything looked fine. We weren't doing anything. They were adhering to the minimum PSI requirements and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then Pirelli handed multiple, I heard 18, I think was the number I heard, for this race in France, like a new 18-page technical directive and new regulations for the tires, which is a bunch of, come on.
We've been racing on the same, essentially, I know they're different compounds for this year, but it's nearly identical compounds to years past.
Yeah, and the thing is, Pirelli's saying it wasn't their tires. F1, or the team is saying nothing, we weren't doing that. And I was reading about the new regulations where they have higher PSI in France, that's part of the new regulations. Teams are responsible for making sure that PSI is at that all the time, even during races, and there's no technology to measure PSI during race time, what does that mean? They gotta check tire pressure when they come in for a pit? I don't know. During the race, okay, thanks. The other thing I saw was, and Hamilton, I think, called out Red Bull for this, where some teams, like Red Bull sometimes, will, in the pit, take the tire blankets off before they drop the car inside the car to kind of cool their tires off a little bit. I think, like at Azerbaijan, there was noted that Red Bull took the tire blankets off of Max's car in the pits, and didn't drop them for 30 seconds, something like that. And apparently, now according to Pirelli, that'll be determined to be cooling your tires, and multiple things. Doing that multiple times will result in penalties or something like that. So they're cracking down on stuff like that, which it's I don't know about you. I'm left with saying this is a bunch of red tape kind of nonsense, and I think the Pirelli tires failed. I think they do. If the teams were adhering to minimum, even if they were screwing around with the PSIs and still adhering to minimum PSIs, the tires shouldn't fail, right?
Oh yeah, I would. So
I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like the drivers, save for maybe Lewis, who keeps, it sounds like he's in support of Pirelli. Sounds like the drivers and the teams aren't happy either. So. I don't know. I think it's worth mentioning, teams would want to run potentially lower PSI for a little more grip, a little more, grabbing action as a tire meets the, you got to think, the tires are huge, right? But the actual contact surface area that touches the road or the track is inches, right, on each wheel. So if they can, lower the PSI, I guess, kind of grow that contact patch a little bit, a little more grip, a little more traction.
I mean, I can see that. The other thing too is I don't necessarily think that Lewis is on the side of Pirelli. I just think he's against Max.
I don't know. I guess that could be true. But to me, it sounded like he was on Pirelli's side.
Or against Red Bull, I should say. I don't think he's necessarily saying specifically it's not, it's not Pirelli's fault. I think he's just saying if it benefits him over Red Bull, he's for it. So
feels like he's doing a lot of complaining again, but we'll have to see what pans out. So we haven't watched the races tomorrow. We're recording on Saturday, like you said. So I have no clue what happened in FP3 or quali. I will try to watch it when I go home before tomorrow morning. I may very well have to watch FP3 and qualies tomorrow morning and then watch the race not live. But I have no clue what's going to happen. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think driver champion changing? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I think it's going to be a good fight between Max and Lewis, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I also know that we can continue this conversation as we need to go get our spot for the start.
Down by there?
Yep. So we're going to take a short break in the recording here while we go down to trackside. So you can hear the IndyCars going around the track while we continue our paddock chat and the qualifying for the NTT IndyCar Series. We'll be right back.
See you in a bit.
All right, and welcome back to trackside, where it's a bit windier, and the cars are definitely out, as you can hear.
Yeah, we got qualifying going on, and just setting up some GoPros to record some cool footage best we can,
which we'll be adding to the podcast here. So,
I hope, how well can they hear the cars, and us, I guess.
They'll be able to hear everything very well.
Cool.
We're using a much more professional microphone than we're used to.
Well, then again, we're also used to recording in a much more quiet environment.
Also true.
Right now.
Yeah, this is our first time doing something live on scene of a race.
And we're also right next to one of the megaphones for the announcer's station, so maybe hearing that as well, plus the wind, so hopefully, I think what we could do to end it, why don't we, is we could turn up the microphone and just end with IndyCar sounds when we're done.
That is true. So
actually, what we could do, why don't we do that, we'll record the sounds of IndyCar practice. There should be, we've got number 26 going by right now. I think we do that. We could talk about our day-to-day in the IndyCars, and why don't we end with recording sounds of the second IndyCar practice.
Hi, Roman. That's Roman.
So, I think for those who may not know, because we actually had to clarify for ourselves, I can go over like the qualifying procedures and whatnot, how it works for IndyCar.
So the last part of our paddock chat and our podcast today, I guess this is a good pump the brakes, actually.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pump the brakes. There is no screeching brake sound effect because we're at the IndyCar track.
Haven't really done anything with that segment ever, I think. So
no, but so our pump the brakes is going to be. Let's do a little dive into IndyCar qualifying.
All right. So IndyCar, I think a lot of people who may not know racing think Indy cars and F1 cars are the same thing. They are not. They are very different, and I think even you said it best. The Indy cars look, a good way to identify the Indy cars versus F1 cars is I think F1 cars, at least from here, look a lot bigger than the Indy cars do. But to that point as well, the F1 cars, they both have halo-type safety devices. However, F1 obviously went with the halo.
F1 is still, it's open.
IndyCar is still technically open, but they chose not to go with the halo. I don't remember why. They chose to go with basically more of a windshield design. Same kind of design concepts behind why, what the halo is supposed to do to protect the drivers. But for some reason, IndyCar chose to go, didn't go with the halo. They went with the windshield. And to your point, it makes them look a lot taller than they are, I think.
Yeah, I think looking at them on TV, it's hard until you're actually here in person to really get a good look at this. But
and they sound amazing. I guess I don't know what. Do you know what engines are running? I don't remember what engines IndyCars are running currently.
I don't know.
Let me see if I can find out. So I do not want to misquote. Let me see if I can find out what this year's IndyCars are running.
Oh, there's K-Mag.
Well, as I prepare this, let me do. Let me
that
talk
was
about
Kevin Magnussen, former F1 driver.
So for IndyCar qualifying, because the race is tomorrow, right, at Road America here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, here in the USA. And from us, it's about 2.5 hours away for us. So essentially how it works is we are at a road street course, we're not in an oval qualifying. So how it basically works is qualifying is broken down into 3 segments. So each segment is broken up. Segment 1 is broken up into 2 groups determined by the top time posted in each car in the final practice session, so the one we watched before qualifying. Segment 1, which we're witnessing now, started at about 1:30 our time. Each of the 2 groups will receive 10 minutes of track time. So it looks like, I think we can see 2 smaller groups. Each gets 10 minutes of track time, and they can, inclusive of full course caution conditions and blah, 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 right? So they then have their chance to set the fastest time while in their allotted time. The fastest 6 cars from each group advance to segment 2, and the remaining cars are assigned positions 13 back to the rear of the grid. Group 1 drivers occupy the odd number positions, 13, 15, 17, while Group 2 drivers occupy the even positions. So, hopefully, Mr. Romain Grosjean and Mr. Kevin Magnussen will go very quickly. But then segment 2, kind of like F1, they're the 12 advancing cars, kind of got the same thing. Fastest 6 advance to the Firestone.
Kevin got a little off track there.
Yep. In segment 2, the fastest 6 cars advance to the Firestone Fast 6. And the Firestone Fast 6 basically receives 6 minutes of guaranteed green flag track time, during which, at the end of the section, those final 6 fastest cars are ranked 1 to 6, and that fills your grid essentially for the race day. As you had said, we have seen Romain Grosjean drive around in number 51 in the purple car. We also have Mr. Kevin Magnussen, who was just a couple days ago, I believe, announced to fill in for, I can't remember who he's filling in. Oh, for Rosenquist. I think he's still under medical. He's not cleared medically to race.
No, they were just saying, and maybe we got him in the recording. They were talking about him having a concussion. So
yeah, and he wasn't cleared by practice time, right?
Correct.
So Kevin Magnussen is racing for Arrow McLaren. He's in car number 7, I believe, right?
Yes, he's in car number 7.
So so Nick said, we've seen them today. To clarify, we're sitting here on turn 14 at Road America, and that's it's the last turn leading up to the main straight that eventually goes over the start and finish line. We haven't actually seen, like the human of Kevin Magnussen or Romain Grosjean in the flesh, but we have certainly seen them going very fast around the track right in front of us, and very, very cool.
Yeah.
This is it.
It's almost surreal as someone who has watched F1 for as long as I have. And
Well, leave me out of it, I guess. Okay, sure. Is that Kevin that's
Yeah,
went by?
that
Yeah,
is.
he's went by. What are they running? Are they running softs right now? What are they running?
well,
the colors are
in
different.
Indy they just call it the red tire. I don't know if it's. I'm assuming it's the softest compound,
I think so.
but it's their qualifying spec tire.
I mean, I gotta say, we were talking earlier today. I haven't been actually. If I'm being candid, this is super cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it'd be awesome. You had the idea maybe next year we stay here through all the days, from Thursday through to race day Sunday.
Correct. The reason we're not doing that right now is Father's Day in the United States
Yes.
tomorrow, and we're going to be spending that with our fathers.
But so it looks like we have the checkered flag being waved. So I think that means session 1 is ending.
It's completed.
We'll see session 2 start. So I don't know what the we don't have access to the, unlike F1, like you said, we've been watching F1 for a while. F1 TV Pros, all the live timing and whatnot, it's well worth the cost and the price you pay. We don't have access right now to the live timing, or we don't know who finished where, but it looks like they're ending this session. I will say this is totally different than F1. Like you said, being an F1 fan for so long, you get you still get the aura of open wheel racing, obviously, but it's totally different. It's really, really cool. If you're internationally, if you have a chance to come to the States and see an IndyCar race, and if you're in the States, absolutely try to go watch a practice or a qualifying. It is very unique.
Well, and the thing that we noticed that was so different than watching it on TV has been specifically just the fact that they're so much closer in real life than they look on TV. Gaps on TV look so far exaggerated.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. We were just having lunch just before this. We had the I love that Menards car livery, the all neon yellow. I mean, yeah, you think that on TV they look, when they're far away, that's the thing. I'm sure it's like F1 too. On television, they look like they're pretty far away from each other, even when they're close. But here, it's what looks far away is actually pretty close. So imagine how close they actually are when it looks close on TV.
Right.
That's insane. We have actually seen. So earlier today, I think as the noise dies down. So this is not the first event today. We actually unfortunately missed driving up here the first event of the day, and we what was the? Let me get the schedule up here. So the first event today, Saturday, June 19th, was the Indy Lights qualifying round 2. And then we saw the Indy. We were here just before IndyCar practice today, and then we had the USF 2000 race 1, which. Very, very cool. We did see some wheel-to-wheel action around turn 14, but very, very loud. Very loud.
Much louder than the Indy cars. But then again, it was all the cars together in one bunch versus one going around at each time.
And I think interesting about Road America is there's turn 14. Corner 14 is a really good place for overtaking, because a lot of the exits of a lot of the turns, you're coming downhill, so you're already under really, really heavy braking just by the nature of it being uphill. When you come to turn 14,
it's a very slight downhill, but
you're kind of downhill, but compared to the rest of it, you're flat. Right?
Yeah. Compared to when you turn 14, you're on the main street.
Yeah, if you also, I think you've done this as well. You raced here. You drove around at high speed in Porsches at the Porsche Experience event.
Yeah, and I've taken my Durango out on track here.
We've done the Sunset Cruise. I've actually been fortunate enough. It was a birthday present as we figured out a couple of years ago. I've gone around. Road America as a partnership with Corvette. I believe either Chevy or Corvette Racing or both. I'm assuming Chevy. So they have a specific Elkhart Lake blue color, and of course all their pace cars and whatnot are Corvettes. I have not had a chance to ride in the 8th generation Corvette here, but I did do the hot lap in the 7th generation Corvette Z51 package, and that was a lot of fun, well worth the experience. Do still have some footage from my head GoPro, so maybe you'll have to share that with the ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, if you can get up here, it is, for a sunset cruise or for a car show or for a hot lap and something. Road America is a very
If you have
cool
teenagers, you can send them out here in the snow so they can learn how it's like to slide on ice.
Yes, it's super.
And then how not to
super
do that on the regular ones.
Have the fun here so you can be safe. Have the fun on track so you can be safe off track.
And that goes for really any track. I mean, we're not sponsored by Road America or anything like that.
You just enjoy it.
Or anything.
It's been a very first class event here so far today. We've already gone through the USF 2000 race 1. We've also gone through the Indy Pro 2000 race number 1, which we actually had, I believe, a car or two have to retire. I think there was an incident in the first lap of that race.
There did appear to be an incident right before turn 6.
We actually missed, we weren't able to see any of that, frankly, from our vantage point, but we did see at least one car being towed off by a wrecker. So hopefully, we do believe the drivers are okay, but that race finished not too long ago. And now, of course, we have qualifying, but our day's not over. We still have, after the qualifying, we still have the Indy Lights race number 1. Then we have the IndyCar practice, and then we end the day with the Radical Cup race number 2. So we have a whole host of more events, even after IndyCar qualifying today. So I'm sure we'll be recording as the helicopter comes near us again. As the cars come back around, we're beginning session 2, I believe. So this is a very, very cool experience. I will say though, do you prefer... Interesting question. Do you prefer being race side for a race, or being able to watch it at home or on television somewhere?
I like the way that this Turn 14 experience at Road America is set up, because you can go inside and watch the TV footage, which gives you the whole picture. I like being able to physically see the cars go around the track and be here. I like the atmosphere. As far as actually watching the race, though, and the action, there's a lot more action that takes place on other parts of the track, not just Turn 14.
Yeah. Like the Turn 6 incident. Oh, exactly. We got some cars coming by? Oh, they sound incredible. Wow. I think it depends on what you want. Right. If you want, I mean, I don't know. I honestly think that, like for an F1 race, for example, I think I'd like to go to an F race in the States, maybe Miami or something like that, to say that I've been to one. But to be honest, I don't know if I would prefer, if I want to watch the race for the race and see the racing action and the drivers, I don't think being at the race is the best way to do that. You're only going to get, even if you're in some kind of a box, or you're in, a tower of some kind, maybe, you're still most likely only going to see a portion, if only one corner of the race's action. So if you want the experience of it, like Paddock Pass, or like what we're having, the Turn 14 experience, similar to the VIP experience over here, then definitely go. But if you want to, I think, the racing action and the race, just the race in general, I don't think that actually going, in my opinion, I think I'd rather be watching from, maybe not home, but maybe inside, best of both worlds, somewhere near trackside, but watching inside so you can see the whole race. I don't know, it's
a long way of saying the exact same thing as me.
Did you say that? I was watching the IndyCars. I wasn't paying attention. So
yes, it's exactly what I said. So
I've been watching the helicopter whirl around. I've been watching the cars go. It's very distracting in a good way, though. You made good mention about Road America in general, because we both gone around the track. We've both been here before. You said something about how different it looks right now than other experiences we've had at Road America.
Yeah. So I'll wait until the cars pass here.
can hear this. 5G Verizon car. I love that blue. I really do. There's a Gore. I don't know what car. There's a Gore. One of the McLaren team. Grosjean's teammate. I can't remember his name. I'll be honest. I don't know the drivers' names and team names as well as I do F1, frankly.
I will say one thing. This is definitely making me want to watch more IndyCar.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you know, what I'm realizing is, I watch IndyCar as much as I can. What's up?
Yeah, the helicopter for the TV camera is just dive bombing the track.
I tell you.
I keep thinking, from this vantage point, it looks like he's falling out of the sky. But real quick, while the cars are gone.
So you better hurry up because it's about to come back.
Yeah, I know. So the big thing is, the track looks very different sitting on the side than when you're actually out on the track. Looking down towards Canada Corner, it looks like it's just a hill, but there's clearly a groove cut in the hill, and I've driven up that groove before, and it just looks very different coming from the other end.
Yeah, so here we go. Oh wow, taking a whole lot of that. Yeah, they're sticking real tight to the curve. One thing I'm realizing too, at Road America, you hear when you look at from the vantage point that we're at behind turn 14, looking up the main straight, you don't realize it doesn't look like the cars are going that wide out at the exit of corner 14. When you look at it from the television angle, which is looking down the main straight into turn 14, they're heading quite wide out of 14. A lot of them are getting really aggressive on turn 14. So I'm actually kind of surprised at how wide a lot of them are going on the exit, given how aggressive they are heading into the corner. Like, right there, yeah, very, very aggressive on the entrance to corner 14.
The other thing too that it always reminds me when I see these cars in person is you have to keep these cars going very fast to get the downforce that you need to make these turns. These guys, I mean, even under yellow or we did have a red flag today during practice.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We did have a red flag during practice, and when that happened, it was crazy. These guys were coming into this corner where it felt like 80 miles an hour. And they were coming into the pit, but just to keep it planted around the corner. It's just really interesting. So
this is a very cool experience. Yeah. I think we should thank these tickets were from a little bit of sponsorship opportunity for them, I guess, free advertising.
Yeah, so I'll have to check with our marketing department if they're okay with that. But if so, I will put their logo at the end. If not, it'll just be a blank logo and a thanks to Nick's employer for this experience. But
we have to be careful with
Well, anyway,
thank you. But this was a great. I think because of just sponsorships and partnerships that your company has, they had tickets for the experience, and we were able to get a couple of them, right? So
absolutely. So
despite having to park pretty far away, but
well, that's partially because we used the wrong parking pits.
Got the helicopter going back over. Is there anything else to go over today, do you think? Or right now until maybe we get a little bit of the cars at practice?
Not at the moment. Not that I can think of. So,
all right. Well, I think I'm actually in the process of. I'm going to start changing some camera batteries as well. I'm running a little low on battery, but I think it's been a great day so far. We have a lot of events left to go. The IndyCars are awesome. It's great to see Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen just looks like they're killing it out here. And I think is that all we have for this episode? I guess.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to get some footage and some sound bites of the practice later today for IndyCar, and maybe the last go as the cars pass us here. thanks for tuning in, everybody. You guys know how to get a hold of us at podcast@redlineresorts.com. You know our social media accounts are at Redline Resorts on all platforms. We'll be back next week with the usual list of random topics, as well as coverage of the first Austrian Grand Prix and the French Grand Prix as a review. And thanks for listening in. A little bit different for us, so we hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys next week. I'm Matt from Redline Resorts Podcast. That's Nick.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Take care. some 4K work. There's no stabilization, and I have to do wide view. I think I'm gonna leave it here like